Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and what the hell do we care now, guys? We're here for a little bit of a fun one. I was on the internet myself, doing my usual stuff, preparing for videos, looking at what's going on around European and world football, and I came across this lovely post from a Bayern Munich fan account where it was the best Bayern Munich 11 ever, according to AI, and I thought, you know what, that could be a good bit of fun. In the video today, I'm going to show you what AI reckons is the best Celtic 11 of all time. I'm looking forward to seeing the comment section on this one, who you think AI has got it totally wrong about, who should be included, your thoughts and feelings on the 11. I know what it is. It's pretty good. It's going to be hard to argue with it, to be honest with you. But I look forward to seeing everyone's attempts to try and argue with it in the comment section in this video. And, you know, maybe we could do a few more of these with some different stipulations on it. Maybe pre-millennium, post-millennium, and, you know, all that other kind of stuff. We'll just see how you guys enjoy the video and any thoughts and feelings that you want to share down in the comment section of the video. If you do enjoy the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. We've got tons of content coming out this week around current Celtic matches that are coming up, post-match, pre-match breakdowns, all that kind of stuff, as well as transfer analysis and the rumour mill debunking and all that other good stuff. But yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it, because whenever you do a video like this, you do basically need to start from the goalkeeper, the defence, and work your way up. And when it comes to who could be the greatest Celtic goalkeeper of all time, it's a pretty short list. There's not many on it that have got a real claim to fame, to be a real claim to be the best Celtic goalkeeper we have ever had in our history. And we bring our first player into the team, which is going to be Lisbon Lion Ronnie Simpson, of course. I don't think there's much of an argument to be had around this one. Ronnie Simpson is a Lisbon Lion who played a pivotal role in the 1967 European Cup triumph, with crucial saves including against Inter Milan in the final. His composure under pressure edges out modern goalkeepers like Arthur Boric and Fraser Foster, because we do have, you know, the goalkeepers that Celtic have had over the years, opinions may vary, but one thing that they definitely all are, for the most part, the great ones anyway, is very well decorated. It's quite easy to spot with the amount of wins, the amount of medals that they've got around their neck, the goalkeepers that were a part of successful teams, successful generations, and the ones that did make the difference in cup finals and those do or die moments. But I think for every Celtic fan, whether you watch the team or not, I've got the Lisbon Lions anniversary DVD, so it's like the full match in black and white, and then you've got a 60-minute colour highlight second disc with also like a documentary on it or something. And I watched that a fair amount in high school when DVDs were still a thing, you know. But that's kind of the extent of my exposure to the Lions and to Ronnie Simpson, so I think it's kind of hard to argue against that. I'm not going to be taking out a Lisbon Lion for Fraser Foster or Arthur Boric or anything like that. And then in at right back, we've got a guy that just missed out just by when he was born, essentially, on being a Lisbon Lion himself, debuting for Celtic in 1970. It's the one, the only Danny McGrain. With 659 appearances, 7 league titles and 5 Scottish Cups between 1970 and 1987, McGrain's defensive reliability and overlapping runs makes him a standout. His longevity and versatility are unmatched. AI definitely knows its onions. Danny McGrain, widely regarded and renowned throughout his time at Celtic as being one of, if not the best, attacking right fullback in the world, and it feels only fitting that he does make it in here alongside some other Lisbon Lions, has been recognised as being part of Celtic's greatest ever 11. And at left back, it has to be Lisbon Lion Tommy Gemmell, and again, if you've got any exposure to the European Cup final, you will see that this guy really does have everything a modern left back would love to have. You know, he had an absolute power in the shot and scored an incredible amount of goals from left back, considering the era and the formation and everything else that the Lisbon Lions played with. And, you know, I remember being a young Quinny, and my papa, my grandfather, born and bred Celtic fan himself throughout his whole life, lived until his late 80s, seen the Lisbon Lions. And, you know, I shared this on some content previously, but I'll repeat it now for you guys in case you missed it. But one of my strongest ever Celtic football kind of memories in my life, my papa was really important to me when I was growing up. It's a long story, we don't need to go into it. But he used to always I'd be sitting on his knee, I'd be a wee guy watching the TV, and he would just sit and whisper into my ear the Lisbon Lions starting 11. And he used to do it all the time. And I remember one day turning around to him and saying, Papa, you know, what was so special about the Lisbon Lions? Obviously they won the European Cup or whatever, but what made them such a good team that won every cup that season and all the great things that they achieved? And like I say, his answer will stick with me for all of my life, and it was, every player in that team could win a match. Every player in that team could score a goal. And Tommy Gemmell, with 418 games at left back, scoring 37 goals, it really does epitomise that, because scoring left backs, goal scoring fullbacks, defenders, period, it feels like a modern thing, doesn't it? But with Danny McGrain, Tommy Gemmell, we've got that really in our DNA. The AI's rationale for Tommy Gemmell is another Lisbon Lion, scored in the 1967 European Cup final, a rare feat for a defender. His attacking flair and 37 goals in 418 games give him the edge over modern options like Kieran Tierney. The first centre-back is not going to be a surprise to anyone. He is also the captain of the side. It is Caesar himself, the one, the only, Billy McNeill. And again, his achievements at the club really don't need underlined or can be overstated in any way. From a player to a manager, all the cups that he won, Lisbon, the centenary year, players he discovered, everything he gave to the club. The Lisbon Lions leader lifted the 1967 European Cup and holds the club record with 822 appearances. His aerial dominance and leadership are non-negotiable for this 11. AI loves the Caesar. But who's going to partner Billy McNeill? This is definitely something I expect to be a hot topic in the comment section down below. And AI really surprised me by picking the one, the only, big Virgil van Dijk into the Celtic best 11 of all time. And let's hear its rationale. A modern inclusion, Van Dijk's time at Celtic between 2013 and 2015 showcased his world-class potential. 15 goals in 115 matches. Composure and latter global success, Ballon d'Or runner-up, Champions League winner, Premier League winner, would make him a strong partner for McNeill, edging out Bobby Murdoch. And I don't know about you, but Van Dijk and Big Billy McNeill, because we know Billy McNeill and Van Dijk, aerial prowess at corners and set pieces would be unreal, but Van Dijk really does kind of complement how bombastic this defence would be, how attacking. Celtic attack DNA is just all over the place here, because as we know with Big Virg, he could just go for a walk. He could just get up the pitch, no problem at all. And yeah, although, you know, did he achieve it's the pinnacle of his career at Celtic? Did he achieve really any notable Champions League European adventures with us? Not entirely. I'm thinking about that red card against Inter Milan, for example. But actual centre-back at the club, it's kind of hard to argue against Van Dijk given everything he went on to achieve in his career. I can hear lots of he's shouting for guys like Bobby Murdoch, maybe himself, John Clark, maybe even a Paul Elliott, a Johan Malby, something like that I could imagine being around the comment sections. But really, when it's all said and done, and if you were to pick the best players that have ever played for Celtic and your life was on the line, I think a lot of people would put Van Dijk in their defence. Now, I also think the next position is going to be one that will divide the comments here. Again, far be it from me to question a Lisbon Lion, but the first midfielder we've got making the team is the one and only Bobby Murdoch. Now, AI's got the rationale of Bobby Murdoch being in here because he didn't quite make it in at centre half. Van Dijk took that spot, and his defensive kind of nous, his prowess is kind of part of the perfect yin and yang that we're going to look for in this midfield. And again, Bobby Murdoch's not one I've got mad recollections about watching growing up or anything like that. And I can see the live chat maybe talking about the likes of a Neil Lennon, a Scott Brown, maybe even a Callum McGregor as being that foil player in here. AI says a Lisbon Lion with 485 appearances, 102 goals. Murdoch's vision and passing controlled games, his versatility allows him to slot into midfield here, complementing his defensive nous with creative output. And what a tale of the tape that is, because his midfield partner, I don't think there's going to be any division in the comment section about. It is the maestro himself, the man, the myth, the legend, number 8 in the team, Paul McStay. The maestro made 683 appearances between 1981 and 1997, staying loyal during the lean years. His elegance, vision and 72 goals make him a perfect midfield partner for Murdoch, balancing grit and grace. And I don't think there really is a better way of summing it up. And as you can tell, this team has already taken the shape, the formation, the essence of the Celtic DNA, the Lisbon Lions. We're going with 4-2-4, and McStay and Murdoch in the engine room in here does feel like painted by numbers, the prototype, the best sort of double pivot, double midfield engine room that you could possibly imagine coming together to really, you know, bleed green in this one. And I think, yeah, Murdoch, there might be some, oh, I'd play this guy or I'd maybe pick him, but I don't think there'll be any of that alongside Paul McStay. And so far for this team, I've managed to give every one of them, with the exception of Van Dijk, because he was number 5 as well, their actual shirt numbers at Celtic, which was really exciting. That changes, sadly, in a way, when we get to the front line, because we have a lot of players that enjoy similar numbers, it would seem. The first player that's obviously going to maybe making the front line, voted Celtic's greatest ever player, widely recognised and accepted as the greatest player ever to pull on the hoops. It's the one, the only, Jinky Johnson, of course. And look at this for a right-hand side. Danny McGrain, Paul McStay and Jimmy Johnson. You could just absolutely imagine this tearing teams apart, man. Absolute no holds barred. Tommy Gemmell on the overlap on the other side. Bobby Murdoch in here just kind of controlling it. Van Dijk and McNeil in and behind. This is the platform for an all-out attack-based team, and having a dribbler like Jinky Johnson on the number 7 on the right wing is this sort of calibre, the sort of player you need to go and unlock defences, but keep the maintain the level of quality that we've seen, even from the defenders, the attacking ability that they've had all the way throughout the team here into the front line. And the AI rationale for it here, voted Celtic's greatest ever player in 2002. Jinky scored 129 goals in 515 games. His dribbling and flair terrorised defences, making him indispensable on the right. And I think that's pretty much the best way of summing it up. And this team has a lot of Lisbon Lions in it, and the last Lisbon Lion that's going to be making the team is also going to be in the front line. He also gets to keep his real shirt number. Of course, he's a Lion. We wouldn't be taking any shirt numbers off of them, of course. And it is Bobby Lennox on the left. Now, for me growing up, thinking about the Lisbon Lions, it is Bobby Lennox and Jimmy Johnson that you think about as like a partnership, as like a tandem. The attacking wingers that really pushed the team on, scored so many goals, wrote so many of the headlines. And Bobby Lennox, I think, basically walks into the team here. A Lisbon Lion with 273 goals in all competitions. Lennox's pace and finishing make him Celtic's second highest goal scorer. His consistency and big game mentality secure this spot. And as we know, until recently with James Forrest, he was Celtic's highest decorated player of all time, now the second highest decorated player of all time. An easy inclusion into the best 11. And this is the first, well, yeah, we've got Van Dijk already, but this is the first player where it's kind of sore that they don't get to wear their actual number that they represented the hoops in the best 11 here, and that's because Jinky Johnson's got his number. Up front, we're going to have the King of Kings himself, Henrik Larsson, into the team, and what would be a Celtic best 11 of all time in any era, in any criteria, without Henrik Larsson in it. If you're of my age and you grew up watching the King, it really doesn't need any explanation. If you're a little bit younger and you've only had highlight packages to go off of, you'll still get the point, really, won't you? The King of Kings scored 242 goals in 313 games between 1997 and 2004. He led us to the UEFA Cup final in Seville, of course. His clinical finishing and clutch performances outshine even Jimmy McGrory's earlier records. Again, I'm getting some tongue twisting on the AI stuff here. But not only that, similar to Van Dijk, Larsson left the hoops and went on to bigger and better things, won the Champions League with Barcelona, and was a very important player for Man United when they won the league the season that he played for them as well. And in the modern era, you do like to see those guys that leave Celtic and show, you know, I wasn't just good at Celtic, I'm actually an amazing world-class player. He finished third place as well in the World Cup for Sweden in his day, and ever present for the Sweden national team in a multitude of World Cups and Euros. The King of King, Henrik Larsson, you can imagine him, and the number 10 shirt fits him, I think, a bit, doesn't it? Because with this support midfield defence that we spoke about, the quality in the wide areas, you can just imagine Henke popping into wee pockets, wee give and goes, intelligent play off the ball and on the ball, and he's the perfect striker to come into this team, really, isn't he? And then the final spot and the final striker to make up the 4-2-4, the best 11 of all time, according to AI, is another king, but it's King Kenny Dalglish this time. And this might divide you guys again as well, because I know King Kenny had a great Celtic career. Again, just missed out on being a Lisbon Lion himself, but is a player that I know some Celtic fans, particularly ones that grew up around this era, maybe have mixed emotions on him being in the best 11 of all time. But according to AI, before his Liverpool stardom, Dalglish scored 167 goals in 320 games for Celtic between 1969 and 1977. His intelligence and versatility pair perfectly with Larsson's lethality. Didn't even know that was a word. And let's call a spade a spade. With Larsson and Dalglish up front here, Jimmy Johnson and Bobby Lennox on the wings, this brute force defence which can also attack for fun, and then this grit and grace engine room of Murdoch and McStay, I really find it hard to imagine any team is going to have any fun against a Celtic best 11 of all time. And I dare say this is right up there with the good and the great of European and world football on medal count, on credentials, on doing it for the team. And then in the modern eras that we've got kind of sliced in here, guys that went on and did it at the biggest and best stage in world football on top of that. And as you look at the overall team, the rationale and the balance, this 11 blends 7 Lisbon Lions: Simpson, Gemo, McNeil, Murdoch, Johnson, Lennox. And it says Dalglish, but I don't think we're counting that. So that's 6 Lisbon Lions, actually, for their historic 1967 European Cup win. And I should say at this point, this is AI that said all this stuff. We've did this through AI. So if I've said something wrong, don't blame me. Delete your comments now. The pinnacle of Celtic's achievement, with modern stars like Van Dijk, Larsson and McStay to reflect the club's evolution. Van Dijk's inclusion over a Lisbon Lion like John Clark or a latter defender like Paul Elliott is a nod to this global impact in the defender's modernity. Again, didn't know that was a word. Ensuring the backline holds up against even today's standards. The midfield duo of Murdoch and McStay offers a balance of tenacity and creativity, while the front four of Johnson, Lennox, Larsson and Dalglish combine flair, pace and unmatched goal scoring prowess. Notable omissions: Jimmy McGrory with 469 goals in 448 games are unmatched, but his pre-World War II era and lack of European exposure make him a tough fit over Larsson or Dalglish, who faced modern defences. Callum McGregor, a modern legend with multiple trebles, but his all-around midfield role doesn't displace McStay's elegance or Murdoch's historic weight. Interesting. Artur Boric and Fraser Foster both were stellar goalkeepers, but Simpson's 1967 heroics give him the edge. Kieran Tierney, a fan favourite, but Gemo's goal scoring and European pedigree take precedence. And then it gives us a beautiful little hypothetical bench of Arthur Boric for his clutch performances between 2005 and 2010. Kieran Tierney, of course, does not need any introduction. Callum McGregor the same, alongside Bertie Auld, who again I had, even though Larsson's on the pitch with number 10, Bertie Auld, we still respect him greatly. We need to give him his number 10. Lisbon Lion, all-round midfielder, could do all things in all situations. And Jimmy McGrory gets on the bench as a scorer, as a striker. And again, I tried to see what number he actually wore, but back then he didn't really wear a number, so I just gave him the number 9. And that is it, guys. The best ever Celtic 11 according to AI. Is there anyone in the Celtic current crop of players that you think could have broke in here? A McGregor or a Tierney? Dare I even say a wee James Forrest on the bench or something like that? I don't know. Really looking forward to catching the comments on this one. On screen and now some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe for more content like this. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, of course. Hail, hail, and Mon the Hoops.